They said the warning was carved into the old barn door long before the town of Silver Path even existed. You shave, God will strike you down. Most folks just dismissed it as a drunken joke from the old outlaw days. But the rancher, Elias Ward, knew better. He had seen men live by that warning, and he had seen some die by it. See, back in 1892, legends were treated like law, and fear ruled the land more firmly than any sheriff ever could. Elias had never been a superstitious man. He built his ranch with calloused hands and grit, not with omens and curses. But that warning had always followed him, whispered through town whenever he walked by with his thick beard and solemn eyes. Some said the warning was put there by his father. Others claimed it was written in blood by a wandering preacher who vanished the very next morning. Whatever the truth was, Elias lived with it hanging over him like a shadow. But everything changed the evening he found the stranger on his land. The man was face down near the water trough, barely breathing. Dust and blood caked onto his clothes. Elias lifted him, dragged him inside, and poured water over his face. Only then did he realize the stranger's cheeks were completely clean, freshly shaved, as smooth as a polished river stone. And the moment Elias saw that, he felt the cold reach of the warning crawled right up his spine. When the stranger finally spoke, his voice was cracked, but his words carried danger. Men are coming for me. Riders. Don't let them find me. Now, Elias should have thrown him right back out. A shaved man on Ward land was like inviting death itself, but Elias had never been one to fear a curse. He hid the stranger in the old cellar, gave him bread, water, and a place to rest, and in doing so, he unknowingly lit the fuse that would shake the entire town to its core. By dawn, riders thundered into Silver Path 8. Men in black dusters, their horses restless, their eyes colder than grave soil. They asked everyone the same question. Have you seen a clean-shaven man pass through? The townsfolk felt that old fear rise up again. A beard wasn't just a style in Silver Path. It was survival. Clean-shaven men meant doom. When the riders finally reached Elias's ranch, the sun was sinking, casting long, menacing shadows across the land. Their leader, a man known only as Crowder, dismounted and walked toward Elias with a smile that never touched his eyes. We know he came through here, Crowder said calmly. Hand him over, and no harm comes to you or this town. But Elias stood straight, silent. The warning rang in his mind, not with fear, but with defiance. What a man does with a razor is his own business, Elias said. Curses don't rule me, and neither do you. Crowder's smile faded. Then blood will rule this land by nightfall. When the riders charged, Elias didn't retreat. He grabbed his rifle, took position behind the fence line, and fired the first shot. The sound echoed like thunder across the valley. The whole town heard it. Every soul in Silver Path froze. The battle that followed was chaos gunfire, cracking like lightning, hooves tearing through the soil, dust clouds choke in the air. Elias was outnumbered, but his aim was true, and his courage was unshakable. Still, he was only one man. Just as Crowder prepared to shoot, Elias point blank, the stranger from the cellar emerged weak. Trembling, but determined, he carried Elias's old shotgun, the one mounted above the hearth. Leave him, the stranger said, his voice unsteady but loud. It's me you want. Crowder turned, grinning. The shaved sinner himself. But before he could fire, Elias lunged, knocking his gun aside. The two men crashed into the dirt, fists flying, curses tearing through the air. The stranger dropped to one knee, raised the shotgun with shaking arms, and pulled the trigger. Crowder fell. The remaining riders fled into the dusk, leaving their leader's body on the rancher's land. When the dust finally settled, the stranger slumped beside Elias. I shaved, he whispered, because I refused to look like the men who hunted me. They think a beard makes them holy. They think they're chosen, but they're killers. Nothing more. And for the first time, Elias understood. The curse wasn't real. The warning wasn't divine. It was fear passed down, repeated, and forced. Just a myth used to control weak-minded men. The town gathered as Elias stood over Crowder's body. "I shaved," Elias announced, grabbing the knife from his belt and cutting through his thick beard in one long stroke. The townsfolk gasped as the hair fell to the ground. "And look, I still breathe. God doesn't strike us down. Only men like Crowder try to." His act shattered generations of superstition. Some threw away their razors forever, but others shaved for the very first time in their lives. The town of Silver Path changed that night. Fear died with the man who had fed it, and Elias Ward, the rancher who dared the curse, became the one who set them all free. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more.